No.
Ground things, pound their feet. Down there on the street, things without feet. Right beneath me, and I see, oh what I see. Things that amaze me. It fills my dreams when I sleep. A penguin that can fly. A penguin that can fly. Scurry by, pounding their feet while I touch the sky, sliding, gliding, without a care. They'll never know the wonders up here in the sky. I'm a penguin flying high, living life with no questions why. I wonder how the ground things carry on, never experiencing the beauty I thought. Can fly.
They are out there sucking up life, devourers of souls. Not mere myths, but a chilling truth to bear. Evil images from lore, revealing their ghastly roles. What are these beastly things of fright? Could be a friend or the stranger you met last night. Legends of tales, each one holds a grain of truth. Hidden beasts within us waiting to break loose. But listen closely, for this is not the beast I see. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release. Twisting truths, bending laws, the flaws they came. They find joy in chaos, delight in pain. Their hearts tainted, their minds unchained. They dance on the edge where shadows meet light. Their existence a paradox, both wrong and right. They wear masks of civility and harbor dark desires, feeding on discord, stoking the fires. Their laughter echoes in the corridors of power, a symphony of malevolence, growing louder by the hour. Listen closely, for this is not the beast I see. Not the primal instincts that dwell in the deep. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark relief. Twisting truth, bending laws, the flaws they came. the ones who revel in the dark release, twisting truth, bending laws, the flaws they came. The bustling streets where sirens wail and taxis race. A lost penguin roams its flippers out of place. Amongst skyscrapers and billboards, it seeks a hidden truth. For it knows the darkest spots within the office loop. What are these enigmatic souls of the night? Could be your barista, the artist by the street light. Urban legends whisper tales of their disguise. Hidden villains among us, you can find them by their lies. Listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek. Not the mundane wrongdoers who blend in so sleek. No, it's the ones who thrive on secrets and deceit. Bending rules, distorting facts, their motives incomplete. The penguin feathers ruffled by nonsense, tracking footprints of malevolence beneath the city trees. It waddles past coffee shops where laptops come and brew. Their existence a paradox, both lost and true. They say their every word is true, yet harbor hidden fires, a simple hate for you. Feeding on chaos, stoking ambition's desires, a symphony of malevolence masked by tailored truth. But listen closely, for this is not the foe I seek. Not the ordinary schemers who play hide and seek. No, it's the ones who revel in the dark release, twisting narratives, bending laws that flaws their saints. Strong as hate, dwellers of the shadows embrace, while they walk among us, leaving traces of disgrace. Their hunger insatiable, their motives unclear. In this concrete jungle, who will emerge is still clear.
Hey, you know what? I've been talking to myself all along. Hello, Roisin. How are you? Hello, Nightwolf. That's funny. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? Let me remove this from the studio. Last night I went over to Raging Tomatoes, and I like to hang out there every so often, see what type of trouble I can make. And one thing I like to pride myself on is when I make a mistake, calling myself out on it. Now, I accidentally kind of blended two stories together. Yeah, a little bit of an idiot, sorry. I also did this in the debate, but I accidentally blended two stories together, which, I mean, it didn't take from the meat of the subject. The meat of the subject was that a person with a social security card is obviously born in America and should not be held for 48 hours or any hours or any minutes or any seconds for deportation. And I had it confused with another story. This Marcel Gomez de Silvia, 18-year-old high school student, Massachusetts, who was detained by ICE. Now, his story is kind of complicated. So when he was 7, his, I guess, student visa, I don't know how he had a student visa, but when he was 7, his student visa ran out, and he's now a 18-year-old high school student in the band, honor roll. He's been an honor roll or honor student his whole life. He speaks 3 languages. I accidentally said 7, but he speaks 3 languages. And the judge ended up granting him bond of $2,000 so that he can fix his his student visa, because he's clearly an asset to our country. There's no doubt if this young man is an asset to our country. He speaks multiple languages. He's an honor student. I guess the band class isn't really much of a props, but it shows that he could very easily be incorporated into our society and useful.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go first and just introduce everything. Okay. And then then Jake's going to say a couple words, and then we'll turn it over to you. But they really want.
And this is only a piece of the debate or the
Jake, you know, they're
interview, by the way.
So we'll be pretty quick. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know you don't want to hear from myself and Congressman Auchincloss. You're really here to talk to
Hey,
Marcelo.
Nicody, how are you?
We just want to
Good night,
explain what we're doing here. We came up from Washington this afternoon. Jake, because Marcelo is his constituent, myself, because the facility where he was held is here in Burlington, to try to understand what the hell is going on. We support securing our border. We support following the law. But this administration is breaking the law. This administration is not keeping us safe by putting 18-year-old honors students in prison. I think you'll hear from Marcelo just what conditions he was held in, and Jake and I are going to go in and inspect them for ourselves. But what we see here today is not American. It doesn't represent our values. And we may very well find that this administration is just outright breaking the law.
Oh, something I forgot to mention. I mentioned that he was 7 years old when his visa ran out. What type of 7-year-old is thinking, hey, is my student visa good? Even if you are a student that's here on a visa through your parents or whatnot, and they overstay, at 7 years old, you're not likely thinking about that. It's like that's like thinking that a 7-year-old would be thinking about, whether or not the rent needs to be paid.
Jake?
Thank you to Congressman Moulton. I'm Congressman Auchincloss. I represent the city of Milford, and I speak on behalf of my constituents in Milford with whom I joined in solidarity on Sunday when I say that this is not what law and order looks like. My constituents in Milford support secure borders. They support their local police department. They support deporting individuals who are a threat to public safety.
To add to that story, his father is here illegally and probably will end up being deported if they end up catching up to him. But as far as a kid, I don't see why this 18-year-old kid can't be incorporated into our culture.
They do not support harassing a high school student carpooling to his volleyball practice, who's an honors student, who is a member of his high school band. That does not make the community safer. This administration has its public safety priorities backwards. They are rolling back regulations on ghost guns, but pushing tax breaks for silencers, for pistols. They are pardoning the cop beaters of January 6th and bullying and harassing dreamers and high school students like Marcelo. This administration needs to fix itself. It needs to uphold the rule of law, and it needs to stop hassling communities who want to support law and order to keep their downtown safe. And
as far as not paying taxes, the Social Security is an interesting argument as well, because a legal immigrant, one that is here legally, they pay taxes, and they also pay, like everybody else, a Social Security deposit, or what is it? Social Security protection. Anyway, Social Security insurance. That's what it is, I believe. And they're never going to be able to collect on that because they don't have Social Security. So, I mean, it's kind of like free money there, but that's only with the illegals, or with the legals, I mean. But with the illegals as well, I mean, usually they pay taxes because the company wants to try to hide the person that they're hiring that's not legal.
I'll turn it over to Marcelo.
And all of that stuff.
Gomes de Silva. I don't want to cry, but I want to say that place, it's not good. It's not good. Ever since I got here, they had me in handcuffs. They put me downstairs, and I was in a room with a bunch of 35-year-old men, and those rooms were small compared to the size of like how many men were there. There was like 40 men in there. We would barely get any attention from the people there. It would be really hard. I haven't showered in 6 days. I haven't done anything. The only thing I could do is thank God every day, because that's all I would do. I would pray there. I would talk about the Bible to them. Sometimes our lunch and dinner would be crackers, and I would share with the people there, because they're like all 35-year-old men who have kids, and obviously, you know, like they eat more than me, so I gave them food. I shared with them. I gave them whatever they needed. I told them about the Bible. At the end of the day, this place it's not a good spot to be. Nobody should be in here. Like, most people down there are all workers. They all got caught going to work, and like these people have families, man. Like, they have kids to go home to, and there's like genuine criminals out there that people aren't giving attention to. They're getting good people that don't deserve to be here. I was one of the translators in there, because I speak English, Portuguese, and Spanish, and they would come in there with their papers. And
you see what I mean? This kid speaks multiple languages, honor student.
They would say, "Can you translate this for me? Because I don't want to."
Right, I was agreeing that undocumented pay as well.
And a lot of those papers, I would have to look back at them and be like you're being deported. Like, they're taking you out of the country. And I would have to watch people cry, like people with kids, like 10-month-old babies. No one deserves to be down there. You sleep on concrete floors. The bathroom, I have to use the bathroom in the open with like 35-year-old men. Like, it's humiliating. Like, you have to pee and poop there. I haven't pooped in 6 days. I couldn't use that bathroom. I just felt embarrassed for everybody there. That's mostly what I have to say. I think.
Sorry for laughing there. That was a little cynical.
This right here is a bracelet that a Brazilian friend made me there. This is how we sleep. This is our blanket. They give us a really long sheet of this thin aluminum, I'm guessing, and we lay down on the concrete floor and put that over us and just sleep through the night.
Probably one of the biggest questions that we get from our customers was, well, how do you really go about buying gold?
I imagine.
One option that people have is they could.
The doors are the doors are big, but there's only a small gap, and like there's days where we peek out the gap and we say, "Hey guard, can you give us something?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll get you it," and he would never come back. Like, he would never. I asked for a Bible, and like for people to say that. For me to say the Pledge of Allegiance at my school every single day and not have a Bible in a federal agency place, it's horrible. It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree with him here. I mean, I can't even go to a hotel without having a Gideon's Bible stuffed in the drawer somewhere. Why can't we simply have a Bible at a federal facility, or Bibles for people to read? Don't we have a freedom of religion? I mean, that is, one of the first 8 amendments, which I mentioned in the debate, and nobody really catches it. When you're being arrested or detained, all of your rights are basically relinquished except for your basic human rights, which is the first 8 amendments, up to excessive punishment.
Because, like, to me, I always choose God first, and that's all I did there. I would pray. It's not a good place.
Marcelo, ¿puedes decir algo en español, por favor?
Sí.
¿Cómo te sientes?
Es un lugar muy difícil. No es un lugar legal. Muchas personas viejas fican lá dentro.
Anyway, so most of the interview here goes into Spanish, so we'll just stop it right there. Yeah, I believe he was saying there was a lot of people there, and that all he could do is thank Jesus or pray for Jesus. But that was Marcelo Gomez de Silvia, 18-year-old high school student that was now some would say rightfully detained because he is on an expired visa, but it's not hard to extend his visa. And The other case that I was mentioning was Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, a 20-year-old who was mistakenly detained in Florida despite his mother presenting his Social Security card and birth certificate. He was held for an additional 48 hours for a state law targeting undocumented immigrants. That law had already been blocked by a federal judge, making basically this entire detainment a nut show. And my weight of my argument was primarily, though, that Americans with Social Security cards should not, and I do repeat, should not have to worry about being deported or even talking to ICE. I don't think ICE, as far as I know, are not a police. I don't believe they have any enforcement upon an American citizen now as far as people that are from other ports. Yeah, but not an American citizen. Right, they should have a freaking Bible. I mean, even if you're not religious, you could agree that they should have a Bible. But we're going to go ahead and play this. Now, in the beginning, I was quite quiet because, I mean, it was already a nut show. I had to cook dinner or whatnot, and I'm sure I smoked like 4 cigarettes before the debate to get ready for the stupidity. And I didn't want to interrupt people, but I ended up getting kicked because I guess I was too quiet. But that's fine. I mean, I don't mind getting kicked. It's no biggie to me. Like, one guy got kicked and started whining about it the other day, and I was telling him in the chat, chill out, man. We all get kicked. Just go back up there and hop on that horse again.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't ever think of things in terms like that. I guess could you ask it a different way? I don't know.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. So, say like
there's
going to be like a vote on the floor that like to you is actually abhorrent. Like it's just like something that's like truly disgusting to you. But say like 95% of America is behind it. What is it about? Like, would you have to like sit back and go like, well, I'm completely against this, or would you say, well, there's enough people who actually agree with this that maybe I'm not looking at it correctly, and perhaps because morality doesn't come into play here. It's actually they who are right because they have the popular vote on this subject versus me. Like, how would you weigh this?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what would happen. I think I would hear it. I don't know if I would change my mind. Like my views on a lot of things have changed. I worked for Mitt Romney. I worked on his presidential campaign. I was an elected Republican, and I was a devout Mormon. So my views have changed a lot, and that happened through conversation for things that I thought were important. Specifically, like the big change for me was gay marriage. When one day I was just like, why the fuck do I like? Finally, enough arguments. It's like, well, I don't get a say in this. Why do I care if somebody else is two guys marry each other? And so yeah, I do think it allows me to keep a little bit more open mind with things that I don't understand.
So I guess what I'm kind of really getting down when it comes to this question, this line of questioning, is how do we attribute this way of looking at things on a grand scale versus like morality? Because morality, you can attribute it to a grand scale if everyone kind of followed a moral way of living their life and looking at things. If you don't have that, how do you make sure things don't go completely like haywire and like, off the rails?
Because I just don't think that most people, I think that people say their morality is based on their beliefs, but I just don't think that's true. I think that human beings generally, like, we don't want to kill each other. We don't want to hurt each other. We don't want to enslave each other. And if you look at any time where we have done those things, you can see that like people with moralities, oftentimes who claim the same religious beliefs on both sides of that argument. Like you can just look at the abolition of slavery here. The people that were advocating that we get rid of slavery were Christians. The people who were advocating that we should keep slavery were Christians. And they were advocating from a Christian standpoint that they could keep slavery. And there were people arguing that you couldn't. They were on both sides of that discussion.
Would you say that without morality, would you
Christians?
Well, would you say that without morality, would that
What are you talking?
This guy just keeps asking random questions down on the bottom. Now, the weird thing is, pay attention to the three guys on the bottom. They keep bobbing up and down like they're riding on the back of a horse or something. And yeehaw! I think they're already well triggered before I even showed up.
The issue there is going to be, though, that there's nothing to. The issue there is that there's going to be nothing to justify that. So if you have two people who are on the opposite side and there's nothing to appeal to, then it's just preference based.
I think all of yours is preference based. I think that's what it is. I don't think there's any.
Well, he admitted to morality as how he feels in the moment during the debate.
It's also how you guys feel too. You just ascribe something to it that's imaginary.
You just
hinted at an objective morality, though, too. You just.
Actually, he's got a pretty solid argument there. I seem to see a lot of Christians, they'll cherry pick this and cherry pick that and ascribe meaning to it that doesn't actually belong.
Said that, well, I think it's in humans' nature that we have these moralities or these moral set.
I'm just judging that based on humans in general. Like most human beings have not been murderous.
There is objective morality or not?
No.
So would you believe there would be any type of enlightenment from being more away from dogmatic thinking, or would you say that?
Say that again. Sorry.
Would you think that you're being more enlightened the further away from dogmatic thinking you get?
I don't feel like it's enlightened. I feel like it's grounded.
As you mentioned that, one of the arguments that was made an actual entire debate on it was that morality comes from God, and what is right and wrong comes from God, and even thought, and what was it? The thought comes from God, and well, I mean, that's fine and dandy, but in that case, who imparted the morality onto God, and who imparted all the characteristics onto God? If the argument is that none of these things can exist without God, who gave them to God?
I feel like you're able to see what's in front of you rather than like this mystery world where there's a sky daddy who's pulling all the strings.
So that's a yes or no. I was just trying to figure out if you could. So you don't think that there is, but you would definitely believe that you would be more grounded, if you want to use that word, versus people who are theological, or those who have dogmatic positions.
I just think that I think that if you have dogmatic positions, like, you have an extra hurdle to get over than me. I still think you could come to better conclusions than me, but there's that extra hurdle that you have to be willing to sometimes overlook.
You have just as many dogmatic and ideological positions as anybody that you're criticizing right now.
What are they? What are my dogmatic positions?
There is no God. That's a dogmatic position.
That wasn't his
I've
position.
seen no evidence of a God.
Okay,
yeah.
that's not
dogmatic.
But even before that, you're saying but you're saying that you people, because of your belief set, are unable to, think critically, or you're able.
You didn't say that either.
You have an extra hurdle. No, I said you have an extra hurdle.
Yeah, but you're putting it in a lower set. You're like making a hierarchy in your own.
There's hurdles.
That is a dogma.
You aren't free of any of the hurdles.
That's what I'm trying to point out. There is no non-dogmatic position.
Look, there's hurdles that I have.
Now you guys see why I didn't interrupt this stuff.
I'm just saying I don't have.
They were already in full spur. I was like, well,
what's the point of saying that?
Maybe I'll wait.
He doesn't know what
dogma
means
either. We've already went over
dogma. We've already went over dogma.
It kind of sounds like you're saying you don't have a position at all. Like, I don't really understand.
Correct.
I don't rule out a higher power.
Now we're getting there.
Nice being honest.
The same way that you don't. The same way that you don't.
It sounds like
you're
really
you just claim one, and it's just an invisible guy in the sky. That's the difference between us. I could say that, I believe in. I could say that I believe in
strawman God. Can we start there? Just stop strawman.
How about
God.
Prove to me that God's not a straw man, and I'll stop
like
doing
Reddit. It's like a Reddit.
No. Actually, that was a very good argument, because if you've ever listened to Andrew Wilson, who was debating the RTP, if you've ever listened to Andrew Wilson, he always bases all of his arguments on Christianity. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. He could be talking about what the best type of toilet paper to use, and somehow you're going to have to define your morals. You're going to have to define what Christianity is, and how God created the toilet paper. If God didn't create the toilet paper, then show him how it exists without God. And it's a ridiculous set of arguments. So that guy actually is kind of calling out Andrew pretty good there.
This message is sponsored in part by...
Throw these little videos in to throw the guys off.
I just had to do that because somebody did request it in the chat, but we worked in the last debate. They got on the topic of how women are like horses and men should tame women like horses, and everybody the horse video to them. But continue on, gentlemen.
Well, I mean, what proof would you like?
I'm sorry. If you don't have a position, then do you even exist? Like,
I'm right. Yeah, look at me. I'm right here.
He's probably going
to somehow I believe that yourself.
Everything about our beliefs and how we go through
the
world is bound up in our worldview.
If you don't have a position, then how do you even exist? Like,
you have a made up position about an imaginary God. It's not
made up.
You just assign
you have a made up position about me having a made up position.
You do realize if you say imaginary, you are putting the emphasis on us as individuals of coming up with something rather than receiving and accepting something that has been
I'm making it for
expressed by many
That's
people.
What I'm making it for.
I don't think a lot of people expressing things make it true. For example, you guys would probably not accept that Joseph Smith was a prophet who spoke to God, correct?
Well, no, because he didn't have any prophets.
Of course not.
Okay, but
But Moses did, and Jesus.
That's why we do internal worldviews, like Andrew tried to do for you, but you ran away from it.
It doesn't actually matter.
Hey, I'm still here. Let's not talk about running away. I'm still here.
Yeah, but you talked about how Andrew sets up, his debates for morality, and he does that intentionally. Absolutely, because that's how two people come to find out who's got the better worldview or not. You said that you watched all of him debating.
Yeah.
You knew that he would do that, so you take this morally ambiguous position, which is cowardice. Everybody has
your game's fucking stupid. Your game's stupid.
It's not a game.
It is a game. It's 100. It's 100%
That's how we figure out who's right and who's wrong.
So
who was right? Who was right? Who was right in that debate?
Andrew wasn't even trying to do that, though. He wasn't even trying to go from morality.
Did you figure it out, Eli? Who was right? Who was right, Eli?
I have a question for you.
No, remember, you just said that's how you figure it out. So explain to me then. We just had this debate. How did you figure out who was right and wrong?
I'm talking about when it comes to moral systems.
Now it seems like you're running from my questions.
No, well, I'm not talking about in the entire debate topic. Obviously, Andrew smoked you. But when it comes to getting somebody's, actual moral grounding and finding out their worldview and finding out how they come to these conclusions, you have to ask these questions. What I want to ask you is how do you come?
It's like picking the best Pokemon.
No,
not real.
No. Everything you believe is bound up in your religious trauma.
Now you're just casting aspersions because you can't understand.
It's 100% true.
No, because you keep bringing it up. I mean,
your
that's
religious
valid.
trauma.
This message is sponsored.
They were kind of spurging out, weren't they? It's funny how she just
that one was paid for, and it was perfect timing because there were three voices all going at once, and you all know I don't like that. But continue on, gentlemen.
Oh, absolutely,
Let me ask you a question, RTP. How can you come and defend the affirmative on whether or not mass deportations do more harm than good, and say you're not making a moral argument when a simple Google search is harm and good moral terms says yes, harm and good are indeed considered central moral terms in philosophical discussions? Are you just
I thought I had muted my mic here. I kind of coughed a little bit, but this is kind of dumb argument. Do you really think that you can't tell good without having a anchor in Christian morals? You can't tell harm. I can't tell that it will harm my toe if I hit it with a hammer unless I'm a Christian and I have morals. I can't tell that if I smash somebody else's toe, it's going to harm them unless I have Christian morals. That's a stupid argument, dude.
Low IQ, or were you being disingenuous?
No, I said he wanted to define it, and I gave him my definition of good and bad, and he didn't accept my definition. He needed me to accept.
You have to actually dig deep.
Hey, Eli,
because you squirm like a worm.
Eli, calm the fuck down. This is why you're not equipped for this. Yeah,
this is my first time doing anything like this.
I know, and
so I'm just a hillbilly, bro.
It shows like you have a lot of emotion and you don't want to hear anything.
Yeah,
I gave him.
I wanted to come up here and call you out to your face.
Yeah, you're still being very emotional. I gave him my terms. He didn't accept them. He wanted to use different terms that fit his ideology and his structure, and I wouldn't play by his rules. And you guys did. Everybody's just like, okay.
He was trying to find out what your structure was.
I gave it to
running
him.
From it.
No, I told him what
you claim to have none.
You repeated it multiple times.
I gave him. He said, "What is good?"
And
I said,
claim. The definitions are very important. I will elaborate that. And especially even in economics, you still have to have ethics in economics, or else this is how like shitty people do shitty things to poor people. If you don't have the ethics standing behind it or the morality in front of it, all you're going to do is just hurt people with money. Alexander comes in with a big 20 and says, harm, a measurable degradation of system function, stability, or expected output relative to an established baseline or objective, increases entropy, entropy.
I hate to guess that question because you never know, you know?
Reduces performance, increase resource.
But I would have to say there's probably a low result. And man almighty, what a word salad to explain a very simple thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, holy word salad.
Consumption, no morals.
Oh, this is a raging tomato.
Yeah, I mean
except that all of it. No,
it's the chick in the middle.
That is subjective to whatever government party is in power at the time. None of that is lacking, morality. It's just that.
And just in case you couldn't hear me, it was raging tomato. It's basically I go up there for. It gives me access to many different topics and usually highly illogical standpoints on how they get to their conclusions.
It's like a legal terminology. It's like a legal definition. So really, it would be if the party thinks, like in China, for example, if the main uniparty was losing power and losing efficiency and losing performance, then they would do what they needed to do that was necessary to regain that power. And that would harm others, to people who have an actual moral framework. But to the Chinese uniparty, they would say, oh no, this is good for us.
Right, on the gauntlet.
We're reducing harm by killing off
the gauntlet is when it opens up
regaining power.
The main channels for the debate.
I think you're right though, RTP. Because I've debated Andrew before, and there are times when he will like to try to.
And that's when I got kicked to the back. It was like, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, I was just trying to be nice.
But how you deal with that, I think, is important. Because
it was fun.
Obviously, there's a difference between.
I come back up, of
having
course.
A good response versus having just seeming to complain and cope and all that. And I do think that Andrew did try to at least understand your logic, and it's hard to understand a logic if you're not being pinned to it. And I don't know if maybe that was your way of trying to say, hey, I see this is what Andrew does, and so I wanted to do the same. So if that was it, then that's fine. But at least be honest about it, No,
I gave him an exact definition of harm 10 times, and he kept telling me that wasn't the definition. I was reading that definition. It was the definition that I chose. It was the way that I intended to use the word harm. I specifically was telling him how I was using that word with the definition, and he kept saying, no, that doesn't count. I need you to do my definition. I just refused to take his definition. That's all that happened here. If you guys go rewatch it, you can go see me say the definition multiple times.
I
just didn't like it.
So similar to like Alexander's definition that he posted in that super chat. Like I think basically the idea is that like you would say something is harmful relative to certain standards. So you would set out what those standards are, and you would evaluate whether or not that outcome holds up or like exceeds or falls short of those standards, and that's how you kind of evaluate like which one is harmful.
Yeah,
so I think
Andrew
he outlined.
made
I think.
Andrew makes a big deal about making sure to clarify definitions in the beginning of the debate. Well, you should probably clarify these definitions before the debate so that you're not taking up a whole lot of debate time with just definitions and semantics. You can get all that taken care of before the debate so that everybody understands what words they mean if you need individual definitions of words.
But that's a
terrible
So I think
definition.
he outlined at the beginning some things that he thinks are bad, and then he explained how those things are happening.
Oh, I did come back a little bit hotter. I was like, okay, well, I mean, I did kind of wait so that I wasn't just come back in like spurred out, but yeah, I did come back in with a little bit more assertiveness
On the because of these sorts of immigration policies, which I think is a fair way to represent something that is harmful.
But you don't think that Andrew had a right to debate that definition? I mean, I think that's kind of basic of debate is that two sides offer their ideas of definitions, and then they try to come up with a consistency of what seems to be more realistic, rational, or logical, right?
Yeah, if you disagree with the definition, then you first have to clear that hurdle.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, he's asking me my argument. He's asking me my argument and how I framed it and how I'm using the word harm. So I tell him how I'm using the word harm, and he's like, "That's not good enough. That doesn't count." What do you want me to do with that? You want me to just say, "Okay, Andrew, I'll take your definition."
Get a better definition.
Or maybe what was his definition? I didn't think his.
What I didn't like about
he
what
won't
you
yield one
did
either.
is he asked you if it was, bad like I'm having a bad day or bad like murdering someone. You basically conceded it was bad like having a bad day. It's down to preference. And you tried to take, again, this morally ambiguous position. But then by the end of the debate in your closing statement, you're going, Andrew doesn't give a damn about the country. Andrew doesn't give so you're
tomato, fierce and red, juicy curves,
This message is sponsored in part by.
I regret my.
Your audience is full of gooners,
I
man.
appreciate you so much for taking a random hillbilly like me and allowing me to speak. And I'm sorry, I am a bit animated because I got adrenaline. I've never been on a live platform before, but I've seen more skin now between the horse video and that when I'm talking. So I'm not trying to get too riled up, but
you're okay. Somebody specifically paid for that, and that was a gift bestowed on.
I've seen more skin
on John Smith. I appreciate it.
More skin on this channel than all the hookers from whatever combined.
But I'm
and the
just
only
wondering
girl on the panel has all of her clothes on. Looky there. It is possible, friends. Okay, go ahead, gentlemen.
It's possible. That's fair.
So RTP, before Christian ethics became a popular thing, do you think that you would still have the same framework of I think it's entirely bad to kill people? Do you think that would be like as popular of a sentiment today than it would be without Christian ethics?
Certainly.
Really?
Can you demonstrate that?
Well, then how do you kind of connect that with the axing out of like human sacrifice due to Christianity?
You're saying that the axing out of human sacrifice was due to Christianity?
In large part, yeah.
How do you quantify that?
Well, because
Catholics came and killed those
What?
child
Are you not aware of what was happening
carving
in
out
the entirety of North America?
What's happened?
What I'm saying is so like because so Jesus died for our sins, right? Like if that's the
allegedly.
Sure.
In
and that's
Christian worldview,
like
all of man is made in the image of God. You can't just unnecessarily sacrifice them and carve out their heart and give it to the sun god.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but I don't.
Yeah, but that wait, but to them, wait. Actually, but to them,
and we did.
And for that crime, here's your anthrax.
Wait, but you're not getting it. To them, that was reducing harm. You know, if you cut out people's hearts and let the blood run down the steps, that's reducing harm because then it rains and the crops grow for the people. So, and
Yeah, I
by
mean,
the
it's
definition, I mean that's reducing harm. So this is actually good.
I think
it's
our
hard
team
for
needs
me.
to hear about
You
Rump
guys just don't
tribe.
get it, dude.
It's hard for me.
You guys got to
it's
get
hard
past
for
your
me to
dogma so you can
say.
understand that the heart ripping out is good.
Well,
for
it's
society.
even regardless on
Wait,
whether
could
or
I,
not.
could I answer it? It's hard for me to say that a God who did a worldwide genocide with a flood because people didn't listen to him is somehow like this. Nobody kills because everybody stopped killing because of me. I genocided the whole world.
Is capital punishment just?
Well, there is kids. He's allowed to.
You see how it's kind of hard to get a word in edgewise with these guys? Now, what's funny about this, they're in full spurt. I wanted to start off by telling Sarah congratulations on her. She got like 2,800 subs that night. Of course, Andrew Wilson helped out on that, but I wanted to tell her congratulations was like the first thing I wanted to say. I couldn't even, I mean, when I do come back, it's still hard to jump in.
Just make an argument. Let's just say it's all wrong. Let's just say it's all wrong. Like Jesus isn't the Son of God. All this stuff. Sure. Would the fact that Jesus died for our sins being the
Andrew Wilson's definitions are nuts.
Human sacrifice component for so many different cultures, wouldn't that then be something to contend with as being a part of the conversation?
I just think you would have a really, really difficult time saying that Christianity is the reason we stopped doing human sacrifice, because you can look at places that weren't well, you can look at places that weren't Christian and they stopped doing human sacrifice. How'd that happen?
Name one.
What? Why? Why did they stop doing that?
So
China.
they kill they human sacrifice right now.
They used to kill their daughters.
Women that's not human sacrifice. That's murder.
No.
I would define sacrifice as the ritualistic killing of a person. I think that's a fair criticism to make a difference. Does that seem fair? Like I think that seems like a fair distinguish.
They sacrifice their kids.
Sacrifice is like a ritualistic killing of people intentionally for some kind of a religious purpose.
Yeah.
So I think that like a secular way you can kind of come up with like your own sense of morality and like evaluate how it would work across the board is through empathy, right? So number one, you imagine, okay, I'm a person and I don't like certain things happening to me. So and if you talk to other people, you can be like, oh, okay, well, a lot of these other people also don't like to have these things happen to them. So it seems like this is a not universal experience, but a general experience that you can then apply to society at large, right? Okay. So as the more you do that and the more you see that people don't like being, I don't know, kicked in the head, right? And you go, okay. It seems like most people agree that we shouldn't kick each other in the head. So if we have a guy running around kicking each other in the head, then we can probably agree to stop that guy from kicking people in the head. Okay, I think that's a fair process.
What if you're
I think it's a fair process for evaluating.
He's running around.
It's not explain why.
Or running around killing people for being gay or something.
Hold on, Ryan.
It's not a good reason.
With the Big Ten says, yeah, and when he used your definition when critiquing your position, you changed your definitions. He never claimed your definitions were wrong.
I dare somebody to say what I changed my position to. Y'all not in agreement. Now let's hear one of you tell me what I changed tell me what my first definition was and what I changed it to.
I was just going to ask Ryan a question.
I just want to know, since everybody nodded in agreement, I would just like one of you that nodded in agreement so assuredly to tell me what my definition was and what he changed it to.
I think just by stating you weren't making a moral argument while continuing to make moral arguments the entire time.
We're talking about
changing your definition of your entire argument.
That's not how you change definitions. He said Andrew gave you a definition, and then when he critiqued it, you changed it. So I just want to know, since you guys are all so fucking sure, what was my position? What did I change it to? Crickets. Yeah, I thought so.
All right, what was the question?
By the way,
what was the question?
So fuck you. Okay.
So what if
I didn't
from
hear the first
my
half
human
of it.
empathy?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
He made it ambiguous.
Kicking people in the head is actually
no, I didn't. I read it.
I think some people will.
I read it fucking
I'm going to kick you all in the head, and then I'll really be a happy tomato. Alexander says, with the Big 20, Olive Jar Andrew did not offer a definition or posit a stance.
Olive Jar Andrew.
He just what?
Sorry, go ahead.
He just weaponized epistemology and danced around.
The guy sent $1,000.
Yeah, but it seems slightly immature.
It's all fucking slick now. It's a little,
See, it is.
I gotta grip it.
Epistemology, it's just finding your epistemological foundation, and the opponent is the one who danced around that inquisition.
Yeah, that's what you guys all think is a debate is, because you all want.
It's the same thing Destiny does. Destiny says he won't debate Jay Dyer because he doesn't do precept and he doesn't do epistemology, because you know that you'll get demolished when it comes down to that, because at the end of the day you can't account for anything.
You don't have, but the argument I make is you don't have to include epistemology in how to make a peanut butter sandwich.
Andrew's not here. Andrew's not here. You can take his dick out of your mouth. But there's lots of people who debate different ways than Andrew and have real good faith discussions.
Right, but
Andrew's way is shut the fuck up.
His style of debating was so bad, you could defeat it. You wouldn't.
I did. I did.
But he did. Yeah.
Yeah. There's people that have come up here on this panel who are saying he didn't engage. You guys are used to
Andrew Wilson never answers anything. He never gives his,
and I think that those debates are substantive.
He never gives a prescription. He's always on the descriptor, the descriptor. He never prescribes anything
that I came here with.
Then why not just admit you're making a moral argument and then stand behind your moral argument instead of using moral terms and moral language and then claiming you're morally ambiguous? That's bad faith.
Because you can talk about terms that people will say are a moral argument without having like firm morals that you stand on.
So if you don't have firm morals that you stand on, then why should we listen?
Then how can you even make that judgment call? What are you talking about?
I didn't listen to somebody.
I didn't.
This message is sponsored in part by
Yoga Girl has got to go.
Yoga video for request of the K2 keep on tracking.
I don't see why they say this is a.
I'd like to answer that.
I wanted to show my wife me being on YouTube. She's gonna get pissed at this point.
You could be in the doghouse, man.
He's trying to cover his screen.
Can I just answer that question real quick? Can I just answer that question? You guys are all accepting this framework that Andrew teaches you about how to.
No, I didn't take any time.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
I don't watch Andrew.
I'm almost done. Look at that. Triggered. Very triggered. People debate all the time without having like this.
I probably heard voices for 10 minutes.
You don't have to have established positions of morality to debate what's better or worse.
Answer those questions you do, and if you can't answer those questions, then
I did answer those questions, and he kept telling me I wasn't answering them. When he asked me what harm meant, I said that it has to be some sort of injury, whether physical or financial, that's deliberately inflicted. What's wrong with that? Somebody want to explain what's wrong with that definition?
Start off a debate
because what's wrong with that definition?
And then claiming it's not moral.
What's wrong with that definition? What's wrong with that definition?
RTP, is it harmful if I don't affirm a trans person's identity?
I didn't hear it. What?
Is it harmful if I don't affirm a trans person's identity?
It can be. My standard.
Only once subjective. Only once it becomes. You don't have an objective standard to appeal to for harm.
Yeah. Okay. So exactly. So like I said, or what I was about to say is.
Now, my answer to that question would have been it's only harmful to the person, I believe, that you're refusing their identity, ma'am. By the way, Missy, you kind of look a little pretty today. Something like that.
You talked about like, what if my empathy says that I want to kick people in the head? I think it's a good thing to do to kick people in the head. I would say, hey guys, I think most of us agree. This guy shouldn't be kicking people in the head, right? And everyone's gonna be like, yeah, dude, fuck that guy, and then we're gonna lock your ass up, bitch.
I'll be right back.
Right, it just boils down to
force. But what if you live in our society and we?
I agree with the force doctrine stuff, and I think that Christian nationalists, these people want to take over the government. They want to run everything, and they want to use force to enforce their ideologies. They want to.
So do you.
Everyone does.
It was kind of funny how she explained it like a roll of the dice.
The better men are gonna win. Like we always
better men. You're the better men.
If you guys ever want to know why it's so easy for women to take over so quietly and things, this is why. You're all too busy arguing and being stupid. We just sneak right in behind you. Jason, and I just sneak in like little stupid videos and you all shut up. Isn't that amazing? Jason with the Big 10 says that's why he kept asking what you meant by harmful and good. You just disagreed with his use when he gave earlier. That's why he kept trying to get an actual definition.
That was
John also recommended RTP versus Rob Noor. That's where I was actually going to go next. But given Andrew's 200K party, I was gonna go up
I
the
think
line.
that one would be better
And
because
so
he's
I
more
think definitely
political.
Rob and
Even though
Rob and
Rob's a nut,
RTP. Are you down for that,
nothing he
RTP?
says
We can
is.
find
I don't know.
Rob.
I told you this the last time I debated Rob. He literally left while I was he just went and started making a sandwich while I delivered my point. Took his headphones
Wow.
off and set them on the table, and I watched him make a sandwich for like 3 minutes. And it was just like, I was like, how the fuck are we gonna have a debate if you're not even
how can you
listening?
compete with that? You just
Well,
lose the debate.
It was tough. I didn't
Rob
know what to
does
do.
really,
That's sandwich
Rob does
tactics.
really good over here. I don't know how long ago that was, but he's very into it when he's here. So
No, I'm open to that. I like Rob.
and I
It
think
is fine.
and I don't think he'll go down the harm principle or morality portion of it. Rob is very politically
Yeah,
charged.
he'll stick
And he'll
100%
stay in your
political.
world of things. So I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
He might shift over to arguing about Hillary's emails or something. So watch that stuff.
Yeah, he's going to
That might have been
argue
what happened.
Hillary's
I remember
emails.
it got derailed on something. I think that might have been it.
All right, but real
well,
quick, RTB. This
it'll
is
be
why.
Good. And let me get through just two more, okay? And then Alexander with the 20 says, how do you say something is harmful without referring to morality? Is there a term for you that you would prefer? Do you need to have morals to know it's harmful to stick a fork in your eye?
That's a great question.
No, it's a good
What if there's
question.
like a parasite in your eye?
Okay, so here's why Andrew was trying to.
You can't have a legal, strict legal definition.
RTP, you kept saying it's bad if we deport all these people because it would have a massive impact on the economy, right?
That was part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it bad if the economy takes a shit? Why is that bad?
Because I think that you are, like I said, with my definition of harm, that you are causing injury, in this case, financial injury that is inflicted deliberately.
No, but that doesn't tell me why it's bad. That just tells me what it does.
Well,
Why is
wait.
it bad?
Can we ask it?
That explains exactly why it was bad.
Because you're claiming it's fucking bad.
Wait, relax.
That's the position, you fucking dolt.
Relax, guys. Relax. Let me offer an alternative. After this.
This message is sponsored in part by...
Now, I already told you, gentlemen, about interrupting.
Right?
Okay? Talking
Right,
over each
Nicole?
other, getting all crazy. At some point, I'll play enough half-naked girls. You're just going to be quiet the rest of the time. Or maybe, if I could speculate, you might actually be yelling over each other on
They are
purpose
really
so
cringe,
that
aren't
I
they,
play the
Nicole?
That's why I do it.
one way or the other.
It definitely
next time
works
I'll
to
play
settle the boys
doggy
down.
with the,
They
watching doggy porn.
most certainly all go play.
Daniel with the Big Ten says you changed it when you said harm is something that causes intentional damage to our economy and negative outcomes that should be avoided if possible. When he applied it to
They're
your
kinda like
logic, you
children.
said no.
That was my original definition, so I don't know what Daniel's talking about.
Dude.
Yeah,
Daniel's cooking your ass, dude.
The problem.
That was his exact definition. He
An
just
argument
said
earlier
a
about how
minute ago.
Andrew does this very specific kind of debate, and he's saying a lot of people don't do this specific kind of debate, right? And a lot of people have debates where they don't have to ground their morals in the debate. What they can do is offer a standard that they think is harmful, and then present their case for why they think that thing is harmful, and then you can offer another case for why that's actually not harmful by that standard, or you can just argue about that, whatever. That's how like most normal debates go. Most normal debates don't go into, have you grounded your morals? Can you prove that you would have a moral
Because
foundation?
most of the people having those debates are
I'll go back to the example that somebody gave earlier of stabbing yourself in the eye. I mean, like self-inflicted harm. I think morality-wise, you could drag that out. You could derive an argument from that. I think there's a lot of things you can say. Why is it bad? And this is why is murder bad? And we can tap into, some people like to say, oh, well, it's better for society overall because, we want to live well and live long and grow. But we could still, if we don't have the morality piece tied to it, you could still lose sight of that. And then, you go from, I can't even, my brain.
It's bad because it's bad.
Right, no.
Well, more
There's
interestingly,
no moral
it's
grounding, then what's the
if you
point
have
of
the
talking
conversation that
about it?
RTP was
Wait,
trying to have.
hold on. Wait, can I ask a question then? I want to know legitimately, what's the difference between, and I'll ask Steelborn since you said it, what's the difference between me saying it's bad because it's bad and you saying it's bad because this invisible God said it? Why is your position a more justified position than saying it's bad because it's bad?
Well, because if there is philosophical and logical demonstrations of people who provide for the existence of God, that would be a way for them to ground their worldview. Now, you saying it's bad because it's bad, I can just follow that up with it's good because it's good. And
how would you prove?
I need.
How would you prove that God is real?
I would appeal to the tag argument.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know what the tag argument is.
Transcendental argument.
Run away.
The transcendental category. The laws of logic. The laws of numbers, these mathematical, like math, all of these universal concepts.
Yeah, they think it proves God.
Right? But concepts.
Well, essentially, reality could not exist without the laws of logic being true.
Yeah.
That's
the laws of logic to argue against the laws of logic. They are a universal concept of your. They have to be a concept. They don't exist in physical material reality. I can't go touch the laws
of in your brain.
So the laws of logic are
no.
They exist objectively, or else nothing would make sense.
Okay, Spock. Right on, Spock. We hear you, Spock.
Where do any thoughts
scrambled
exist?
eggs?
I would say thoughts exist in the mind.
Okay, so is this not all possibly just a thought that exists in your mind?
In the mind.
The mind and the brain are not the same.
Possibly.
So
what's the difference between a mind and a brain?
Right?
Well, that's what science has been trying to figure out for forever.
Look, I'm trying to be open-minded here. I would love to ask the question: what's the difference? between a brain and a mind?
Oh, I don't think half of them. I don't think half of them have an inch of morality at all.
It's just the brain, right? You can take that down to physicalism, which you can say nothing's bad, nothing's good, whatever. You can't even hold anybody morally accountable for anything.
They're the type that tout God
to, because that means everything's physical. My thoughts are a chemical reaction. There's
I guess cover up their.
Therefore, nothing I do is actually bad. It's just predetermined by my.
You know, there's an old saying: the more that you need God, the more that you've done wrong.
Chemicals. So you can't actually hold me morally accountable for if I go stab a toddler in the face
with
a fork.
So you just
totally can.
So wait. So
no, you can't actually because
we don't have to justify it to you to throw you in a cage, bitch. We don't have to justify that to you.
I just want to ask a question.
Yeah, we don't have to justify what
Can I ask a question?
Had to do to have you.
And the dog clip is a little weird.
Cause you're my Patreon girl, and your love for me depends on how much money that I pledge to you monthly.
I love that they're dachshunds.
That's a bad doggy.
I hate the doggy.
Yeah, my wife will like that one.
Wait, can I ask one follow-up question? Because I think we're almost there then. So we're saying that if going back to determining like whether or not something like you're holding somebody accountable. Why is it so?
Hey, the empty chair.
Well, I think that if somebody's
the empty chair is gonna get in there and debate for a little bit.
And walking up and just kind of beating the
no
shit
more, no morally responsible.
Because I can do that too without wild conspiracy theories and of course governmental.
You think it's good that this happens, or you think it's bad that this happens, other than you just fucking think so.
So why can't I just make up
extremists?
So if I just made up, so if I just said I believe in Zorp, then what I believe is equally. Is grounded as what you believe, right?
No, we can test your epistemology. We can hold up the world.
How would you test the How would you test the epistemology of Zorp?
Yeah. Can you define the nature of Zorp? Can you give me some of the content there?
He's all knowing.
Okay.
He's we're all made in Zorp's image.
Sarah, last time
Trinity at this point, just calling it Zorp.
I figured the Zorp argument was stupid. I tried to step in, and then I'm like, well, I don't want to cut off their spur.
All the same characteristics that from the Christian worldview we would say God. Then you're appealing to the exact same framework that we hold.
Yeah, but I just made it, and I just made it up, which is what happened to you guys too. You just made up, and then
well, but the difference is we have all of these other things aside from like that tell us that. And
I did have a flaw in my argument, but at least I call out myself when I have a flaw.
That's what you have. A lot
of people but I don't have a flaw in the part of my argument, which was that you shouldn't have to worry about deportation if you have a social security card.
Made up or not, it's still objective.
Wait, how can something made up be objective?
I'll explain.
It's your objective standard.
Hold on.
Oh, my personal objective.
You believe. No.
You believe it's not
so
objective.
it's subjective,
That
but
doesn't make it so.
personally it's
Hold on,
objective. Got
RTP,
it.
do you think that there
Is it just me, or is the guy in the bottom corner, has he been just kind of rambling stuff that doesn't make any sense? It's you. It's
some
subjective.
of them actually thought through the position and used
You're not
philosophy,
really
logic
making arguments,
to
dude.
try and ground these positions and try and justify them, other than the fucking Sky Daddy that we just
but he was in a cult. He was in a cult, dude. You don't get it.
Well, Mormonism is a cult. I would agree there.
I think that people
it was
have
dramatic,
a hard.
bro.
Yeah, it was. I think people have a hard time accepting reality that we are here because your dad nutted in your mom, and then you got and then one day you will die and you will go into the ground.
Damn,
and that's
we're
tough,
back to Reddit, dude.
And that's a tough reality for a lot of people to accept. And so I think you invent.
That doesn't even
I think
part of my
religion
reality.
is invented,
really
and
convincing.
when you
Well,
say
but think
like,
of it
do I
this way. Think of
would
it
you mind
this
if I
way.
finish? All right.
Okay.
No, I'm not gonna let you finish. You've been yip yapping all night.
All right. I mean, I think
so like look at it this way. You are a non-believer and I'm a believer. We've got essentially a 50-50 shot of one
here's
of us
where
being
she
right, correct?
throws in the odds.
We have a 100% chance of being right.
I think there's no statistical evidence back.
Playing the casino game.
Backing you up at all.
Should I be Christian or should I not be Christian?
Well,
No, I think
let's
that
pull the lever and find out.
Shut up. Okay, let's just pretend it's 50-50 split down the middle. Either I'm right or you're right. One way or the other. You and I both die tomorrow, okay? Let's say I'm right. Well, I've already done the work and I know where I'm going and I know that when I get there, it's going to be good. You die, assuming I'm right. You get there, it's not going to be as good for you because you have failed, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a non-believer. So you have a higher risk of failure if you don't believe in what I believe. However, let's switch it the other way.
Yeah.
You and I both die tomorrow, and there is no God. Well, we both just die tomorrow, and I don't risk anything.
You wasted a ton of time and energy believing in something that wasn't true, and you dedicated your life to it, and you missed out on, I think, like the real experience. And you
That actually makes sense. That you lived in a high level of fear throughout your life.
You missed out on it.
I was kind enough to let you finish. Can I just finish one fucking answer, like while we're going? I think that you wound up taking probably some bigoted views, and you probably didn't get to meet some people because of your religious ideologies. And I don't think you experienced life in the same way that I did.
Hey, RTP,
can I push back on this?
Yeah,
Can
thank
something
God.
come from nothing?
Thank God I didn't
But
experience
even
it.
at that, like,
Jesus.
this is where that morality stance would come from, and this is where that stands on. So I know in life I have guidance and tools and a purview that I am working through, and it helps me guide. Like, I don't know, like anything that's outside of it. What would be outside of religious factor that I'd be missing out on? That oh my God, I'm missing out on that. I
You
could
don't
still
get a gross Coomer.
Degeneracy. You could just be a complete degenerate.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to.
No. How about everybody else answers for me when she asks me questions? You guys
It's finding a way to
me.
rationalize living in sin.
Right? Which God are we talking about?
It can be a
Good point,
stupid
Nicody.
boomer.
Yeah, no,
I
I think what you did is you lived a life full of guilt, and you lived a life that is extremely limited because of these beliefs that you have. But believe it or not, that has an effect on you. The guilt that you may feel for breaking one of God's commandments, the guilt that I remember the guilt I felt when I first started saying, like, God damn it, which was a crazy thing. I didn't even believe in God anymore, but it was so ingrained in me that it took years for me to realize that was just a word, and there was no effect on my life if I said God damn it. But you guys live in a world where you are subjected to constant feelings of not being enough, or not meeting expectations, or not living up to this Jesus who died for your sins. And every time you sin, it's like somebody gets to throw it in your face and be like, hey,
That's
Jesus
good
died for that.
argument.
Are you putting him through more pain because you jacked off? No, you just jacked off and it felt great. But you have to
Oh
be guilty.
no, holding
I
people
don't have to be
responsible
guilty.
for their actions.
All your
Terrible.
arguments be great against the weird
Sounds
Puritan
so
Protestant
terrible.
Mormons that you grew up with.
Holding people to a standard sounds so bad.
Yeah, I roll.
It's stupid. I think it's a dumb way
yeah,
to live
I
your
think
life.
it's the accountability concept.
I think you just want to coon.
You know,
You'll have to
I think you just
re-explain
want a
that to
daddy.
me again. I'm a
I think you
boomer.
just want
Or
somebody
well,
to
I'm not
tell
a
you what
boomer.
to do.
I do.
Yeah, no,
According to
RTP, why do
Shiz, I'm a
very-
boomer.
most
very
things
much
change,
so.
but some things changing, dude?
But even at
I
that,
think you still feel guilty.
And also,
No, I
feeling-
don't. I think
Oh
that
my
you.
God,
I
never
think you
mind.
can't
Massive
figure out. I
coke.
think you can't figure out. I think you can't figure out how to address this. And so now what you're doing is you're attacking the fact that I figured out how to get out of a fucking cult, and you guys haven't.
Hey,
figured it
Dr.
out yet.
Nimrod, how are you?
Well,
Can
RTP,
something come
what
from
kind of
nothing?
evidence would you like for
can-
God?
Not in the same cult.
Empirical. He wants
Ever.
empirical.
If I am anyone.
What kind of evidence would you like for the existence of God?
Well,
He wants
before we go
empirical
through that,
data.
let me
Always
get
up
through a
this way
couple
when
super
PI.
chats, if you don't mind. Daniel says he said that was his first definition, but claimed he didn't change it and asked everyone to name when he changed it. A literal contradiction, clown.
You're using the word literal and contradiction wrong because they made the claim that I
Daniel's
changed it,
still
which I didn't
cooking your
do.
ass, dude. You got a rebuttal for Daniel yet?
No, it's difficult. It's tough.
Savage says, if it's harmful to deport them, was it harmful to anyone allowing them in? If you say no, then you're being disingenuous.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I
Uh,
can't say no then.
Fair
Were any of
enough.
you harmed? Were any of you guys harmed by illegal immigration?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not sure.
100%.
Yes.
How are you
Yeah,
harmed?
raise the housing market.
Raise the housing
Paul,
market.
It's going
Paul
up.
says that
Exactly,
if we're wrong,
Nakoti.
we're the most wretched among
That one's a
men.
super chat.
Fair enough.
I mean, there's people coming in and just
Super shot.
terrorists
Conquering.
over the border. Yeah.
Sit down and don't talk.
Yes, I don't see any conquerorship.
Are you not aware?
I'd like to tell you that congratulations on your 300 plus subs today. I don't see any conquerorship happening to America right now. I finally figured I need to stomp in. Brought up the question of how do you determine who wins and loses a debate? And I find, and I'm sorry for not talking a bunch, I'm trying to be rude and not interrupt the spurg, but he asked, how do you determine who's the winner of a debate? How do you determine who wins and who loses? And this actually brings up something that I'd like to ask Sarah. I watched the first debate, and usually I absolutely disagree with everything that Andrew has to say. I think he's a very vile person, and I'm sure there's a lot of people online that agree with me. And I find that in the first debate, I agreed with Andrew Wilson quite a bit. And I was wondering if maybe I could possibly use that to show how you can agree with somebody that you absolutely disagree with. I find a lot of time in these debate atmospheres, people find the guy that they like and they hang on his or her every word, no matter what. And when it doesn't matter what the other person says, they can never gain ground if you're not looking at the debate honestly.
I agree with you. And to me, I was just actually explaining this to my chat last night when I did my little one-on-one with my viewers. That every debate I come into, it's a clean slate. Like everything prior to that argument, everything that they stand on, like is kind of out the window. But whatever logic they bring to that moment, that's where I will follow, right? And I remember we had there was is OnlyFans good for society, and I wholeheartedly disagreed with Diddley in terms of her worldview on it. But the other side wasn't actually bringing the argument to the table of why it's bad. Like they sucked at it. It was terrible, and you kind of have to be, you have to be able to be moldable within a debate and look at it in just a smaller
It's going to be hot here today as well.
Everything else that
Right. Now, the other thing I was wanting to mention, a lot of times I find when it comes down to this immigration issue, nobody ever touches the subject of American-born citizens that are being detained and actually put on deportation list. I know of an American citizen that was found out that he had a social security number and a birth certificate, was put on a deportation list for 2 weeks. A 20-year-old guy, a kid who still lives in his mom's house, all for going to a Mexican restaurant. Now, as I said before, I was looking at at least 25 different events of the same thing, so I kind of got the two stories compounded together. But if anybody hasn't caught where I corrected myself in the beginning of this video, I correct myself multiple times. But it doesn't necessarily take away the weight of the argument that if you have a social security card, you should not have to worry about ICE at all. Well, he's an American citizen with a social security card. That means that any American citizen can face the same result.
Right. Okay, well, right now, if you look like a criminal.
Oh, and I got a speed date. That was kind of fun. First speed date I ever had.
Suspect in a murder case or something like this, you could be arrested and detained. You could even be falsely imprisoned.
Yeah, I got a little hot at one point.
Are we going to stop policing because of that?
Oh, yes, that I give you, but we have never had where an American citizen with a social security card is put up for deportation and put into a deportation jail where this 20-year-old kid had to explain to other individuals that they were being deported because they couldn't speak English. And he was the only person there that could translate, sir. He was the only person there that could translate. I do not believe anybody with a social security card, which proves they were born in America. The only way you get a social security card is if you were born in America. I do not agree with an American citizen ever being deported. Ever.
Did he get deported? Was he deported?
Actually, he was put up for. It took a second judge. He would have been. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He was ordered deported. Yes, sir. Hold on. He was ordered deported. Quit talking over me, please. He was ordered deported.
You're saying
I am answering your question directly. He was put on the deportation list by one judge, even after his mother showed his birth certificate. It took a federal judge to clear it so that he wasn't deported. He would have been deported.
So he wasn't deported.
I mean, what argument is that? So you're fine with being put on? Are you okay with being put on a deportation list today, sir?
Yeah.
Are you okay with being put on a deportation list?
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Well, that's kind of silly. You don't. Then you don't believe in America.
I agree with the law and order. I agree with enforcing the law. Why would I be against that? Same way as it.
What law says that they can remove an American citizen with a social security card or even place them? Wait, what law says that you can be placed on a deportation list without or with your social security card? Tell me one law that tells you can be put onto a deportation security card.
I mean, I don't know the name of the law, but obviously there's a law that says
you don't know the name of the law. You're coming here telling me that there's a way to put an American citizen on a deportation list when they have a social security card.
Well, how did they do it?
The courts ordered deportation of the young man during the first court hearing after his mother had showed that he has a social security card.
After she showed the
I can give you the young man's name if you'd like.
Yeah,
the young man's name was Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, 20 years old. Hello, Mr. It originally was cited that he looked like somebody, and when he asked who he looked like, it was never given a suspect, nor was it ever addressed in court that he looked like somebody. They cut that out of the court case.
And he doesn't speak a lick of English.
Oh, no, actually, he speaks 7 languages. He's a high school graduate. He's a high school graduate on honors.
He said they had to get someone there to translate for them.
No, he was translating for the people within the detention camp who were being deported because nobody within ICE was translating to them that they were being held for deportation. So an American citizen under deportation was explaining to non-American citizens that they were being deported as he was waiting for his deportation.
What is it? How's that relevant? I don't.
How is that relevant? Because it caused harm to the 20-year-old kid. That's clear. An honor student. Hold on. We're not talking about some dirtbag that was a criminal. We're talking about an honor student. He caused harm. They caused harm to
19-year-old.
Well, let's say that Again, thank you for the correction, Mr. V. It looks like what's most important is your legal status. I thought I'd look that up since I did speak wrong. Non-citizens get a social security card if they're authorized to work in the U.S. So I guess you can get a social security card. Thank you for the correction. As long as you're a legal citizen of the United States of America. So again, I don't think that if you are holding a legal social security card that you should then have to worry about being deported. I mean, unless you've committed a crime, of course. And, that goes on to another thing with the committing a crime. These people, they put out the message like, it's the war on drugs. We get the little guys, and the big guys will come out of the woodworks, and we'll find them, and then we'll catch the big guys, and then we'll stop the big guys from doing it, so the little guys don't end up doing it. Well, what the war on drugs ended up doing was creating a bunch of criminals out of a bunch of drug users, and never ended up catching the big guys. To this day, the big guys are still out there on the street doing what they do. But I do appreciate that correction there, Mr. B.
Because she was illegal here for 19 years.
I'm not worried about that. That's a totally different subject. That's a totally different subject. I'm talking about this young man who was put on a deportation list. I'm talking about a young man who was put on a deportation list. You're detracting at the moment.
I'm fine with detaining citizens.
But do you see how easy I am to correct myself when necessary? Mr. B pointed out something. I looked it up real quick, found out that I was inaccurate in the information, and accepted it. How hard is that to do? These people can't accept anything,
legal or non-legal.
So, I mean, even if I was a little bit wrong, my argument ended up holding well enough that he said that he wanted me to be deported because he was butthurt.
Just like I'm fine with detaining citizens, innocent or guilty, while we figure out who is the criminal.
And I'm fine with detaining them. I'm not fine with putting them on a deportation list.
Well, they have to go on a deportation. They have to go through the process.
No, they just need to be detained like any other American criminal.
Well,
and then once it's determined that they are in this country illegally, then they can be deported. It's kind of suspicious in this case that the entire you're a suspect. What?
How do you think they figure out whether the people are here legally or not?
How do they figure out? Well, with a social security card, it's very clear. Figure out the people that don't have social security cards.
We're just naming a piece of evidence. What is the process for figuring that out?
The process would be due process, the going through the court, and one good process would be make sure that the person.
What are you on trial for?
One part of due process is investigation. One part of due process is investigation. Once the investigation,
the evidence then needs to be presented in.
See, he continues to talk over me. What I'm trying to explain is you first start with the investigation, so you should at least know if the person has a social security card or not before putting them on a deportation list. Now, another thing, you guys can look this up. The agents have been somehow removing people's status just before they go and pick them up
in front of a judge at a trial.
You're going over semantics.
I haven't covered flurf stirping in a long time. I should probably go poke on some every once in a while.
Once the investigation, once all of that was completed, sir, once all of that was completed and his...
I like to kind of keep it different, you know what I mean? Do something different here and something different there. I do police videos still. I'm sure I'll go back and do many frauditors, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll hit flurfs too.
Social security card was presented and the evidence was presented. All of his due process was there. Once they have no crime, they shouldn't be able to continue to hold him, but they did for 2 more weeks.
After the trial.
After the trial, yes, he was ordered deportation. It took a federal judge to clear it. Well, don't believe it all you want. You can make up whatever you want, I guess. I'm giving you a fact. I gave you a factual name. I gave you a factual name. I have another.
Even though some of my comments are flawed, I don't care is not an argument.
Other incident, if you'd like. I've got like 20 of them. So
if he was not deported, then they found him not guilty, I guess, of being illegal.
Okay, here's what we have. We have a high school graduate on honor student.
I don't care how
speak. Wait, listen. Stop interrupting me. Damn it. We have an honor student. We have an honor student. We have an honor student who speaks 7 different languages while speaking. If you're just going to talk over me, I'll continue going. He speaks 7 different languages. He's not a criminal at the moment. However, detaining him and putting him into a prison for a week with a bunch of people,
I think detaining somebody for a moment without a crime is a crime. I mean, I just believe that.
Now doesn't even believe that he has any due process in America, and this could very easily create a young man who turns on the system instead of working his best to become a part of this system which he was born into.
I don't care.
Well, of course you don't care. Of course you don't care. Right? It doesn't match your narrative. It doesn't match your side.
Not about a narrative. He didn't get deported. This is useless.
He was put on a deportation list.
Maybe we should first start with deporting
some of the Trump. Was accused of murder, I would still go to court and trial and everything, even though I was accused of something and then found not guilty because I'm too nice to hurt people.
But you wouldn't be put on a deportation list. There's no way at all you would have been put on a deportation list, except for you're not brown, so they're not going to put you on a deportation list.
So you would be put on a list and not leave the country.
List.
Hey, Zerzu, how do you think it affects
prison is totally different than deportation. Prison is part of our due process system, which we very much cherish. Prison is a part of that. It's not deportation of an American citizen is not a part of that. That's an American citizen. Deportation of people who are from other ports, that makes sense.
Right. I shouldn't have to worry about if I rob a bank. This is what I'm trying to describe here. I shouldn't have to worry about if I rob a bank because I robbed a bank, all of a sudden I'm worrying about deportation. I should have to worry about paying for my consequences of robbing the bank, yes, but not deportation. That's not an option, and it never will be. Maybe for treason, I don't know. I haven't really looked up treason, but possibly, but not for we can't. You shouldn't. You just don't deport American citizens, as far as I know, and there's no argumentation that says you should.
Dude,
even putting him,
but for some reason everybody's arguing against that idea. Yeah, let's throw those frickin' Americans out. What happens if you have a Democratic president who just deems that the people with the crucible hats on are anti-American and need to get out of the country? And they just deem by executive order that you guys are no longer legal citizens and need to be removed.
Up for deportation.
And what's great is I have my own hat with my own logo. I don't have to wear some other guy's hat. I don't have to be on some other guy's jock in order to make a presence online. Take off those stupid crucible hats.
Hey.
How should we all have to go through that first? Because ICE went through a parking lot, or because ICE stopped at a restaurant? I also know American. You want an American veteran who served in Desert Storm, and he was also put up for deportation.
Like I said, I have 25 incidents.
Really boring. Can you answer my question?
Which question?
How do you think it affects young men?
As far as my story being boring and can I answer his question, if he wasn't chirping his question right in the middle of my words, I might have heard his question.
men who are falsely accused of SA who have to go to court and they spend months in jail and they lose their college scholarships.
Probably
and all that
sucks.
stuff.
Probably
I
sucks.
agree.
Like King Tane does.
I agree.
Right, so should
I
we
agree.
stop
Wrongly
prosecuting men who
accusing,
commit SA
wrongly
because people make
accusing.
mistakes?
Okay, you're arguing, and I'm not arguing with you. Wrongly accusing somebody of SA and them ended up going through the system is the exact same process that would cause them to maybe go against the system, which is this process that I'm describing.
They don't
Wrongfully
follow the law.
doing an act upon an American citizen without due process.
Yes,
So
sir.
Or due
stop?
process
Should we
absolutely
stop?
failing.
So you're arguing to
Oh,
stop trying to deport
yeah,
people.
no, you're going to lose
That's
that
the
debate,
argument.
Mr. B.
Oh,
I
no,
wear
I'm
a
fine
hat.
with
then you're not
Deporting.
following the
Actually,
logic.
I'm
That's not
very
what
good
anybody
with
said all
deporting
night.
illegal.
Nobody said stop all
We're
deportations.
talking about an American
That's what
citizen.
he is saying. That's the logic that he's trying to
He
argue.
just
that
told
you're
you no.
Every
That's not what
time
he's
it's
saying.
it's the
Yes,
shock,
it is.
shock and awe.
That,
and
I'm telling you,
shock and
that's
awe.
the logic that you're arguing.
Oh, actually,
You're
what I
not
was
listening
saying
to it
about
now.
sir, you're wrong. What I was saying about the SA was SA is a process of our law which will put somebody into prison, and if they're wrongfully accused, that could very easily put that person in a mindset where they're against the system. If they're wrongfully accused, now pay attention to the wrongfully part. And if they're wrongfully treated by our system, pay attention to the wrongfully treated by our system part.
We're paying
If
attention.
they're wrongfully treated by our system, they can't turn them against our system. Now, this young man
Judge.
being put on a deportation list, even with
Who's
a
the
social
judge
security
doesn't
card
matter.
as an American citizen, was wronged by our system and very easily could turn him against the system, the same as it would somebody who was wrongfully accused of SA. So I do not agree with wrongful accusations of SA.
How do we
That's
find
my
out if
argument
it's
there,
Did
if you
he
want.
see a judge, dude?
How do we find out if it's
Yes,
wrongful
and the
or not?
judge put him
so
up
we
for
got due
deportation.
process.
Have
We
you
saw
been
the
paying
judge.
attention?
The whole court
Yes,
system.
and the judge put him
And it
up for
failed.
deportation.
But
It
he
took
didn't get
another
deported.
judge
Hold on.
to clear him.
Yes, and sometimes a judge will take a man who's been sexually or has been accused of SA, and then they'll actually wrongfully accuse them, and then they have to appeal to a higher judge. That's how our system works.
Okay, and the
It
problem
seems
is
like
that right now
this
they
But
have
they will
lowered
never
the
put
bar.
them
They
up
are
for
using it more-
deportation because they're an American
Sometimes-
citizen.
Sometimes they'll actually convict
Good.
them,
Go
but
ahead.
they'll serve an
But
entire
due
half a
process
sentence.
in our Constitution applies to United States citizens.
Bullshit.
Illegal
That's just a
immigrants
lie.
do
You're
not
fucking. You're
qualify.
lying.
Yeah, Dr.
Stop lying to
Nimrod
these
has
people.
one of the
Due
very
process applies to
few-
people in the jurisdiction of the United
Yeah,
States. Persons.
It's
That
a heavily
includes
debated
undocumented
topic.
immigrants.
Court
It's been
does
upheld by the
hold
Supreme
that.
Court
No,
multiple
well,
times. Don't
Yeah,
lie.
it does.
Don't
Due
fucking
process does apply.
Tom has
Although, like,
one.
I agree, it probably shouldn't.
I have
you know,
one.
Different
it shouldn't
process, I
apply
agree.
to illegal immigrants, but
Why,
it
how would
does
you
apply-
decide if they're illegal without due process?
up to the
Nacho?
point where they
Doesn't
go
apply
through
to people
the
outside the country.
Nacho, how
You
would you
have to
decide if
provide
someone's
them
an
with
illegal
their
immigrant
first
without due
Eighth
process?
Amendment, first
Well,
Eighth
should we
Amendment.
apply due
We just
process to
deport
people
them
who
and
are
we
in
find
China
out
who,
later.
like,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's fucking insane. That's
What
the
about
whole.
during war?
That was the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling about Kilmar. The reason they said that Trump had to not do what they were doing is because they could then justify deporting U.S. citizens, which is why all nine Supreme Court justices said, "Hey, you can't do that shit."
Which is exactly my argument.
I don't know if it
Okay, well,
was
eat shit.
mentioned,
I don't
but I
care.
just googled the article of this guy, and he
Yes,
was held
they
for
made that
48
ruling. I
hours
can
and
enforce it.
released. So
Now,
That's what I was saying.
and this was when I was kind of trying to figure out exactly where I made my mistake about earlier when I blended the Marcelo Gomez de Silvia with Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, but both of them are atrocities to justice, I believe.
I couldn't find this guy.
he was held for 48 hours, and they let him go.
And I couldn't quite
Alexander
figure it out
says,
until later.
Such a moral system you have here. Having evidence someone is a citizen, you found them to be illegal, guilty, and put them on a deportation list, jail. But you don't care. How moral of you.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't care about these people.
I want them to be
Where within my
successful in their
am
own
I-
country.
am I
No, I care
compelled
more
to
about my
provide
family and my
legal
nation than I care
systems
about
for
them.
illegal
Sure.
immigrants?
Yeah, well, your family is. What does that have to do with this?
Do what?
What does that have to do with this?
So you care about yourself
What do you
and
mean,
not
what does it have to do
morality.
with
People aren't hurting you.
The
Yes, they
question
are
hurting
was
you.
certainly said it.
Disenfranchising. We can start with
Being undocumented.
disenfranchising.
Yeah, multiple people on that panel basically just said they care about themselves. They don't care about the morals end of it. And then when being addressed, they all want to look like, huh? No.
It's not hurting
Do
you.
this.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
yes, they are. Absolutely, they are.
No, it hurts. It might hurt your feelings because you're a little baby, but it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't
it
actually hurt you, no.
disenfranchises. It creates inflation. Y'all can't even go to the gas station because the illegals down there.
Because of undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
Wait. Connect undocumented immigration to a rise in gas prices for me. Walk me through that.
No, I said I can't go to the gas station. You're not listening. I didn't say pay for the gas.
Really? Has anybody ever had such a hard time with undocumented immigrants that they can't go to the gas station? I mean, this guy's really reaching out on a limb here. He's reaching out so far, I think that limb's already snapped and he fell on his freaking head.
To the gas
Can't
station.
go to the gas station because there's
it's a
undocumented
rise in
immigrants
crime.
there?
It's an
Because he
increase
fears
in
for his
population.
safety.
Sure, I can't send my wife to the gas station. How about that?
Because
you're a
undocumented
coward.
Yeah,
Yes, as a general.
Are you
as a
checking their
general rule,
papers?
yes.
You're seeing all these
I mean,
people
I'm
you
not-
know
I'm
they're
not
all
Because you're a nervous
I'm not
wreck.
court
Oh, we
system
know.
betting on
Okay,
it,
well,
sure.
well, then maybe you don't know shit. Maybe you should shut up.
If I see him at the gas station and then I see him loitering at Home Depot, okay, they're illegal.
Well, that's what Stephen Miller's
You're a
recommending.
fat little man scared of the world.
Stephen Miller's right.
Is what Stephen Miller's doing. And Stephen
Miller's
Miller's a white nationalist, by the way. That is what
Stephen
they're doing.
Miller's a Jew. Don't call him a white
nationalist. Stephen Miller's not a white
Way
nationalist.
more U.S. citizens who run into the situation that Zez was just up here describing. Because they're being way more careless with the process. And you guys
But
don't
we
give a
just
fuck.
figured
You
out
don't care
this
about
whole
people's
thing that
rights.
this whole story that he gave about 2 weeks and the judge and the other judge, it was all bullshit. That's what he just said.
It wasn't bullshit. It was two stories that were kind of compounded together, but both of them are very, very atrocious if you actually looked into them.
According to one of these guys, why are you listening to him and not like you're just
I
saying?
just
Oh,
looked
this
it
one-
up
this-
too.
And he was held for 48 hours. 1 hour. 1 hour is too much. 1 hour he was put under deportation. 1 hour is too much. 1 minute, 1 second, 1 microsecond is too much.
Found the same thing.
It's
I
on the
couldn't
same
find
guy
it
that-
while we were in there.
Can you post a link in the back?
They're taking our yarbs. They're taking our yarbs. Everybody, they're
It's gonna be the
taking
same
our
guy, right? It's not gonna be
yarbs.
some different
I
guy.
have-
Juan Carlos
most of
Lopez
these guys
Gomez,
look like
yes.
they haven't
It said
worked
he was
in
held for
years.
48 hours.
48 hours.
Right there.
He was
There's
held for
like,
48 hours. That was it.
Customs enforcement requested he remain there for 48 hours.
no.
How long
At
did he
least
actually stay there?
4 of them.
48 hours.
Where does it say that? It says that they
He-
requested he stay there for 48 hours.
Hey KDD,
Where's the
how
full
are
story?
you?
Where like Zers, do you have the article you were referencing?
And I did
Actually,
post it
so you knew
in the
this guy.
side chat.
Yeah,
But I was also trying to
oh, you actually
find.
We're gonna
No,
go
I don't
for
think I know
about
anybody really on this panel.
we're gonna go
I
for
can give
about
one of the articles. There's multiple
Shut up,
on him.
everybody.
There's even a
We're-
video and an interview. There's even an Sorry, go ahead, Sarah. Oop.
Thank you. We're gonna go for about
Yeah,
10
I was
more
trying to
minutes and
find
then
that
I'm going
interview.
to bed, gentlemen, okay? It's been a 13, 14 hour day now, and shield your eyes.
Tomato, fierce and red, juicy curves,
This message is sponsored in part by.
Real quick, I'm just going to read this. Lopez
dude's
Gomez
pumped up over
briefly
here.
remained in custody after
Hey,
US
radical crybaby. I can do the same thing. See, 12-ounce curls all day long.
Good for you, King. Hell yeah, stay fit.
So yeah,
You're
it
wearing a
actually
crucible
says
hat.
enforcement
Can your
requested he remain
your
there for 48
leader
hours. That
open up
implies
a
he could have
jar?
been there less. It just says Lopez
longer.
Gomez briefly remained in custody, and they requested it be 48 hours. So it could have even been less than that.
He did a full interview on it.
Well, that proves it then. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just anecdotal.
I was desperately trying. You can tell that I'm looking in there. I'm desperately trying to find that interview so that if Sarah would have let me pop it up, I would have popped it up, which then I would have immediately noticed, oh, wait, I am confusing two stories together. But as I said before, both stories were still atrocities to Americans.
It's anecdotal evidence.
Okay, whatever.
I
if he
mean,
was held for
how do
48
you-
hours. It's
do
still
you-
bad. Still
well,
bad.
but-
Some
but
U.S.
still, I
citizen
mean,
was detained for 48 hours because they
that
thought he was an
thing's-
illegal
Oh,
because he was
I'll
in a
say,
Mexican
I
restaurant.
don't think any of us
Still
would
fucked
agree
up, right?
that a U.S. citizen being wrongfully arrested is bad, but that doesn't mean we should stop the deportation efforts. That's basically what this guy.
Yeah,
was
how
trying
does
to-
that
that's
lead
like,
to
that
that
was the logic
conclusion?
he was arguing.
So the
This
logic
guy
that I
was wrongfully held.
expanded
That's
on
all
with
it's worth.
is it because
It's
they're
like,
being
oh,
more
no.
careless Okay, because they're being more careless with these deportations, there are going to be more cases like this. So would you like it if we changed our process for arresting people who have sexual assault allegations, and we started arresting more people with less evidence? Would you like that?
I would actually just like us to use.
Oh, I'm sure there's tons of them.
Okay, well, we obviously do because like you have no idea about the.
Said
like,
so. That's
you
the evidence.
just as
That's literally not how. That's not literally not how it works. That's just bullshit.
Is your source that you made the fuck up?
Brian, are you
Yeah,
just
I'm saying he made the fuck up. I'm saying he's lying
other
or he's dumb.
countries-
Like, it could be
Because
both.
the deportation system is flawed, then it should just stop.
No, I'm saying they are not. They're being less careful and they're being more damaging. They're causing more harm, which was like the whole topic of this panel tonight, which was these deportations do more harm than good. And what I'm saying is that they're being more careless.
I like this. He's about to go into the quantity
more
argument.
problems in society.
Is it morally harmful?
Based on my own subjective morals, yeah.
I think that the system should be vetted. I think that the system should be vetted before we go and start vetting people who are American citizens and putting them. I mean, now I don't think that we should absolutely remove deportation, seeing that the system's a little bit messed up. But I believe correcting the system so that American citizens with their Social Security don't get wrapped up in this mess. We've got to figure out how to make the due process a process that works.
You can't
Graham is a good argument here. We should have some sort of
None of them know what
Graham
Graham is.
applied to it.
They don't know what the
shut
Graham
down
factor
immigration
is.
completely until we get this thing figured out, guys.
That isn't what I said.
Moratorium on immigration.
Did I just say that, or did I just say the contrary? I just said the contrary, that I understand we can't just shut down the system, but we need to vet it.
I was just playing. I know.
No, I just agree with that. Yeah, we should do that.
I just playing.
Large-scale problems require large-scale actions. It's not just a small amount of immigration we're dealing with. It's been exponential, for years.
We don't actually know what the real numbers are. They're guessing like 11.
Why don't we slow the fuck
million.
down and figure it out instead of just like grabbing people off the street?
Well, Ryan, are you
illegally in unmarked vans wearing masks so we can't identify people's badge numbers? Maybe instead of doing that, we actually like follow a better process for evaluating who's here illegally. What if we did that? Maybe
I think we actually need more of those people. We need people in masks everywhere.
More masked
Your
people
neighbors.
without presenting identification, grabbing people and throwing them in unmarked vehicles. You want more of
This
that?
nacho dude's arguments are absolutely ridiculous.
You know what the great thing is? We're going to get it. $150 billion approved.
If you ask me, this guy with the mustache here, his arguments are basically, let's just see how much of a pig-headed thing I can possibly say, and he doesn't really hold full thoughts. He just has quick little whips.
You're gonna get more. Yeah.
I don't want to be a downer, but you guys do know what tomorrow is. What's tomorrow? Anniversary of the Death Star. The Death Star? Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's been a year already. Yeah. Man, it's such a huge thing, and all it took was a couple X-Wings to take it down. Yeah.
Yeah, you think because it's all a big meme, you think it's a good thing that we have way more.
I kind of think Tom still has some of those teabags.
Yeah, I know.
You said we should slow it down. Didn't the previous administrations do that?
An internet guy or something, right?
Or something.
I remember going on a panel with you years ago, and you back then you were just acting like a stand-up comedy routine when you were talking about politics, and I guess you haven't really changed much in that regard. So,
Ryan, are you
just trying to say I'm funny? I mean, thanks.
No, I'm saying you were trying to be funny. I'm saying you were trying to be funny, but really you were just like bogging the panel down. It was
it seems like you were always on Adderall, and you still are. So I don't know.
Dude, I fucking wish I was on Adderall. I've been off for 2 months.
All right, Ryan, would you support sending the U.S.
I've been silenced all night.
Is Ryan even pro deportation? Are you even pro deportation?
Yes.
Okay, do you support us sending the military down to the border to prevent any future crossings illegally?
I don't support the shooting to kill people at the border. I don't support that. But yes, I'm okay with having the military at the border. Yeah.
And we just don't let them through. We just physically don't let them through. You okay with that?
I'm potentially, depending on to some degree.
Okay.
But the whole.
I wonder if they know how many miles the border covers.
Well, I mean, it would be a great deterrent for people to stop trying to cross the border.
Ryan, you said that we should slow it down to figure out what's going on, but didn't the previous Democratic administrations do that? And why didn't that solve the issue?
So one of the things that the previous Democratic president tried to do, there was this bill. If you guys don't remember, there was this bill that was going through Congress that Langford wrote that had specific reforms that would make it easier to process all of these things. That would have more judges. That would have more resources to actually handle this stuff. And Trump shut it down because he wanted to run on it. He wanted to run on this because he doesn't give a fuck about the country. He just cares about.
I'm not talking about Trump's administration. I'm talking about when
I am right now
were in charge.
I
asked you about when they were in charge.
Oh my God. Yes, I'm telling you, when Biden was in charge, they were working on this bipartisan bill that Trump shut down. That's what I'm telling you.
So they were working on it as
Trump came in while Biden was president and shut it down.
No, if you're going to ask how he shut it down, he proposed to Congress to vote against it. And
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean,
you're
basically saying they were
probably
working
can explain
on
it
his
much
entire
better.
administration, and he didn't get it through. And then once Trump got in, he shut it down. But why didn't he do more during the time that he had?
No. Trump shut it down before he was in office. What he did was he truthed out about these people saying that like it was a bad bill, blah blah blah. And what it did was all these loyalists who know that if Trump throws shade at them, they will be less likely to get reelected because there's a cult that follows Trump. So they were like, okay, we can't vote against the bill.
Well,
this is something Trump
Obama had 8
do.
years. What did he do with his 8 years?
All these people who said they were going to vote for the bill before changed their mind after Trump fucking tweeted about it. You guys just don't know because you don't pay attention to this shit.
What did Obama do with his 8 years? About immigration.
Have you ever noticed whenever they address Trump on Trump's issues and what Trump is doing, they always fall back to, well, what about Hillary Clinton? I know he said Obama, but I'm going to the extreme because that's the next step after Obama is Hillary Clinton. And apparently she wasn't president, but they're still hung up on that for some reason.
They deported a lot of fucking people. What do you mean?
I have a question.
Well, yeah.
How much slower would you want it to be? I mean, right now we're at like 2,300 deportations a day. Like, how much slower would you want it to be? Like at this rate, we're not even going to reach 1 million in 4 years. So, I mean, how much?
I don't care. If you can't follow the process, if you can't follow the law, the due process, Mr. Law and Order over here was like talking about following the law, but he doesn't give a shit about it apparently because they're not actually following the law. They're illegally doing this.
They are following the law. What's illegal about it?
They're absolutely not.
What?
So how?
Having no ID and unmarked cars, grabbing people off the street is not following the fucking law. No, it's not.
Give me a daily number.
No law and order in that.
0.
I'm less interested in quantity than I am quality. I would like to have our system run a quality system instead of worrying about who's the quotas, matching quotas. That's actually a good argument.
Low quantity results in
decrease quantity by necessity.
I just don't get why you're willing to hand wave Obama's 8 years of incompetence and Joe Biden's 4 years of incompetence, but as soon as Trump starts doing some action, all of a sudden you're up in arms.
Because they don't want
they weren't breaking the law. Their deportations
they don't want more deportations. They want to hire 1 billion judges to just make all the illegal, the mass migration legal. That's the definition.
Consider's had a long day.
They still want to flood the country with immigrants.
I'm just saying, Ryan, your exact words were we need to slow it down and figure out what's going on. Why wasn't that done during any Democratic administration?
So what I'm telling, well, okay, first of all, it was slower, right? Trump has accelerated the process of deportation, so obviously it was
fast,
slower.
Mr. V.
Office, right?
It seems like
the problem get fucking solved. That's what
Obama's numbers are blowing Trump's numbers out of the water right now. So we don't have a fast.
Obviously, way less people come in.
We have they're just shooting from the hip and they're just sending everybody home, but the numbers don't even reflect what you're saying.
They are so they are obviously not deporting as many people because there aren't as many people to deport, right?
So then how is the process
did
more
they
lax?
self-deport? Where did they go? Where did these illegals in America go in the last 6 months? They disappear? They just offing themselves or something?
There were people who were coming.
I have an interesting question. At what point?
I'm sure you do.
At what point during the Obama administration or the Biden administration was an American citizen with a Social Security card detained and put on a deportation list? At what point during those two administrations did it ever happen? Never. This has only happened under one administration in our history.
Are we back to this guy that was detained for 48 hours?
He was detained. No, we're back to Social Securities should not go on a deportation list.
I think they should, but only if it's your Social Security number.
The government can just.
Hey, I got government chats for you. Hey, I got government chats for you.
It's all fucking memes.
Oh, a report from the government.
Yes, there were several documented cases under the Obama administration where U.S. citizens were mistakenly detained or even deported by immigration authorities.
There you go. ICE deported at least 70 potential U.S. citizens between 2015 and 2020.
Let's
Daniel Little, 2008.
Go ahead and start doing our closing final thoughts.
Yay, I'm ready.
Getting very, very tired, and I would love to. I would normally continue going 110% because it's.
I don't know if my
now,
tourism has been
pooped out.
affected, but I know I've got a
very
tumor
long
now.
day. And I still have a debate here tomorrow night, so I do need to get.
It might be a brain tumor.
Have some kind of something. All right, Ricky Bobby, why don't you start off with your final thoughts, sir?
Oh man, I don't really I don't even know what to say. Really, it's just like, holy shit, what the fuck? Honestly, I don't know.
That's about all this guy has said the entire
like,
show.
They don't even have a position. I really can't comprehend
Nothingness,
that.
empty air.
It kind of seems like they think they don't even exist. Like how can you not have a position? Can a person not have a position? That makes no sense to me. So yeah, I mean, I just want to say thanks for doing this. I thought there'd be like 4,000 people waiting to debate. I didn't think I'd even be able to come on here. So this has been pretty cool. So thanks.
Yeah, you got a point there,
You're most welcome,
Nakoti.
Ricky Bobby. We appreciate you, and you're always welcome back. Eli,
yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate you having me on. It's my first time doing anything like that. I just came on for same reasons, talking about that I think RTP was making a lot of moral claims while claiming they weren't. I don't think it's possible to have a moral less position unless you're actually, admitting that you don't have any morals. But everything is bound up in our presuppositions. Everything is bound up in our worldview. And, presuppositionalists like Andrew and other debaters that you've had on this panel are just trying to get to the bottom of that, because everything, culture, politics is downstream from our worldviews. So they're worth criticizing. They're worth getting to the bottom.
This guy was sipping out of a
dodge that
little bottle that you
rock,
get from the
and they're not affected by it,
airplanes.
and they're not aware about the philosophical fact that they are. And I just wanted to call him out on that, and I appreciate you having me. That was about it. It was a lot of fun, though. Thanks so much.
You're most welcome. We'd love to have you back again too, Eli. You're very sparky. I like it. Steelborn to you.
Yeah. Again, thank you for having me on here, Sarah. This is the first.
They
time
have
I've
to
ever
mention Andrew. They're contractually
thoroughly
agreement
enjoyed the
to
back and forth
mention him.
with all the radical spurters and everybody else. But no, the main problem with these leftist secularists is that they can't ground any of the moral claims they make. It's bad that you do this, but what is the bad? The bad is the bad, and it just keeps going. The bad is the bad. So the only argument we need to make at that point is just, well, we think it's good. The good is the good. And that's the only justification we need to deport anybody. Like, none of it makes any sense. It's all arbitrary. And I would like to see them start grounding their morality and their epistemology in something more than just my preference.
And I guess they have to find that evidence,
Steelborn, I'd
Mr.
love
B.
to see you on here, especially with the tag argument. That wouldn't be a bad thing to have in the back pocket there. Ryan, to you, sir.
Yeah, so as for just a quick response to that part, like all this precept tag stuff crap, it's just like, it's just an excuse to dismiss people who don't agree with your like Christian Orthodox worldview or whatever. Like it's literally, that's the whole meme of it. That's the whole point of it. They talk about the laws of logic and shit. These people don't know anything about the fucking laws of logic. Okay, I'm a computer scientist. I use the laws of logic every fucking day, and I don't need God to help me do that. Right? Like that's anyway. At the end of the day, Trump's deportation policies obviously do more harm than good, plain and simple. It's not just who's being deported, but the reckless, dehumanizing way it's being carried out. We're doing mass removals with no due process, and no due process or compassion. We're tearing apart families, gutting local communities, and chipping away at the legal protections that keep all of us safe. Yes, that means everyone on this panel, unless there's some like sneaky Canadians in here. These aren't like strategic removals. They're chaotic, cruel, and they're politically motivated. And we're not fixing the system by weaponizing it like this. I think if we care about safety, stability, or even like basic human decency, then this is not the way. And I think it's very obvious. And one more thing, if you wanted to have a conversation about all those things, I wish that would have happened for most of this conversation, most of this whole debate. Like, it was super frustrating because we were stuck on this presupposition crap, which avoids actually talking about the real harms that are happening. You don't have to agree that there are harms, but it's nice to actually talk about what's happening in the world instead of being dragged down into this deflective bullshit. But they don't actually want to talk about these things, which is why they do exactly what I keep complaining about. But anyway, I'm Radical Coder. If you actually want to talk about real things that are going on, you should check out Radical Coder on YouTube. And I'm also a mod in Sarah's chat, and I bring the hammer down almost never. I did for like 10 seconds for someone tonight because it was funny. But other than that, I'm pretty chill. And I'll drop my link in the chat. I love you guys.
I wonder who you muted for
And
10
Ryan
seconds.
is a regular. Again, somebody questioned him even being a wrench in my chat. Ryan has been a friend of the show since before the Raging Tomato was even the Raging Tomato. So whoever said that, fuck off. I don't care. I make whoever I want a wrench in my chat because it's my fucking show. Go get your own. Mr. Nacho, to you, please.
Yeah. On the immigration stuff, I mean, yeah, I think we need to ramp it up. We got $150 billion approved for over the next 4 years or whatever it is. I think the numbers are way too low. They're kind of pitiful when you're looking at Clinton's administration, when you're looking at Obama's administration. We're not even close to where we need to be. So honestly, if you're on the right, we need to be vocal and pushing the administration to complete the objective.
Did everybody forget about G-Dub?
Or we shouldn't be supporting them in the midterms or the next election.
Oops, skip right over G-Dub.
And then, you can follow me on X at American Nachos. And then I started doing a show again every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So on YouTube at American Nachos or The American Nachos. So
The American
and thanks for having me up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't mind if my link's in
I'd
the
love to
chat
see
or
you back.
not.
Actually, everybody up here, I think, belongs on a debate panel. All right. So if everybody can, all of my social media is in my channel description and all that. DM me so we can get you on if that interests you.
I'm sorry for being so mean to you, Nacho. I want to like
He's
you,
not
but you frustrate me
sorry.
a lot.
No, they're not going as hard
care,
on
man.
red states.
Zeb, sir.
I thought she said
You've been wanting to get on one of these. Welcome, and your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean,
I tried to.
I said Zeb.
it was-
Sorry.
Sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I got two Z's on each side. Zeb, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. I mean, Trump ran on mass deportations, keyword being mass here. We voted for Trump for mass deportations, and I believe we should get mass deportations. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory there. I mean, you can argue against it if you will, but that's what we voted for, and that's what we ought to get. But I ended up, thank you, Sarah, for having me on. This is the first time I'm here. I'm relatively new to the channel. And I just want to thank RTP for joining me post-interview back there. Is what it is, man.
Fair enough. Thank you, Zeb. And Troy, to you, sir.
So I guess the topic of the debate wasn't really my specialty, but when I started hearing RTP talk about his justification for morality, it really sparked something in me. I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about it. And I just wanted to give a congratulations to Andrew Wilson for reaching 200,000 subscribers. That's huge. I want to give a shout out to RTP. He said that he multiplied his subscriber base by 3 times in the last few months. That's awesome. And thanks for having me on, Sarah. I'll definitely be on again.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure. Appreciate it. Jeff, Mr. Klein, to you.
Well, thank you, Sarah. It's always a pleasure to be here. 2 things I would go over. Number one, this wasn't even a moral debate. What Andrew wanted to do is get the terms out there so he could hold him to something.
And I figure I may as well
when he
post
kept
the Raging
equivocating and
Tomato
being
in there.
ambiguous,
It's a nutball
we have to
show
keep toning
there.
him
If
down
you
there so we
guys,
can see if the view is consistent or not.
just
It has
keep in
nothing to do with
mind there's a
morality.
lot of
If
crazy.
we wanted to get a moral debate, we could do that, but I don't even think that's where he wanted to go. As far as the pre-sup cope, I actually was talking to Andrew this morning about it, and I want to try a new argument that you don't even have to go there. So, Ryan, I'd be interested in debating you at some point on it and running it, see if it works.
Message me. We'll go. And Zers, to you, sir.
Oh yeah, I'd first like to start by congratulating you on your big jump in subs tonight. That was kind of nice, and I'm sorry for being a little quiet in the beginning of the debate. I was really trying not to interrupt everybody, and it was quite active at that time. So I decided I'd come in with a little more heat, and as you know, I don't normally come in with that much heat, but it was fun. And that's about all I have to say. By the way, you can call me Penguin, anybody, if you guys can't do the whole Zerzuzyklin thing, or if you don't want to. Zers works, Z, Bubblegum Boy, Kazuzu. You go have fun, name me whatever you want. I did enjoy, however, the 2 incidences where you super chatted for me to say things. That was kind of cool, the turtle and
I was just gonna ask you to say turtle.
Turtle.
Do it for
I
us,
like
sir.
turtles.
Turtles.
I do that a lot. I
We
like
do that.
turtles.
Cracks me up.
Turtles.
Just a couple more super chats came in at the end. Stamy says, I'll be healed up from the surgery more next week. I'll come a little more prepared and join
Penguins
you for the
rule.
first time. I'm looking forward
Turtles
to having you.
drool.
And Daniel says, thank you for setting this up. Made my workday go by fast. Appreciate the content. Also funny. That guy quietly ducked out. No, RTP's RTP. He messaged me that he had to go. So it's
that
all
was like
fair.
a 3-hour debate, right?
Yeah. He
was running a den of wolves too. I gotta give him credit for that.
Yeah,
Can I have
he's perfectly fine. And they all know, any debaters, I tell them, once we hit open panel, you can leave anytime you want. So
Can I have a second to explain the Bubblegum Boy, since somebody asked about what the fuck in the chat? The Bubblegum Boy, I was named by a flat earther Bubblegum Boy because he thought that my name sounded like a bubblegum ingredient. I thought it was actually brilliant. You know, it was well thought through for what I believe flat earthers not to be very well thought through. I thought the whole Bubblegum Boy thing was creative.
that works. And John Mosman kicking off, and actually, good thing you did, because I was just about to talk about this. Says, Sarah, thanks for hosting the debate between JS and I tomorrow. Can't wait for it. See ya. Yes, tomorrow night. Today's Friday, still Saturday. So Saturday night, tonight, we have John Mosman, who was just on here, and JS Urban Adventures. They are having a debate. I believe it's about Christianity and politics.
Casino Sarah.
So maybe RTP should watch that one. But I think it'll be a good debate between the two. And speaking of, I actually set up the raid, since JS Urban Adventures is still live right now and cooking. I think he's hanging out on the verbal combat panel and playing a video game too. He looks very into it. It's pretty interesting. So we're going to raid over there. So follow the raid, throw tomatoes, as you know the drill. Let them know where the fuck you came from over here at Mater Nation. Outside of that, folks, I had a really wonderful day with all of you. Shout out to Andrew again. Thank you for allowing me the ability to host your party of the evening. It was quite an adventure, especially putting it together. But fuck off.
Man, yeah, I have nothing to do with the Casino Sarah nickname that's going to start up soon. I don't know where that came from. As always, you guys are awesome. Remember, you don't have to be wise. Just don't submit to stupid. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
Sky. dreams when I sleep. A penguin that can fly. A penguin that can fly. A penguin that can fly. That's why you will find me up there with the birds that have wings. Up there I can see things not seen by ground things. Up there in the sky, there's a penguin flying high. Always loving life, wondering how the ground things have survived. Never seen life. Down below me, the ground things scurry by.
Gonna try to catch it at the end of the song here.
Can see high above, away from the debris. Down below, the ground things scurry by, pounding their feet while I touch the sky, sliding, gliding without a care. They'll never know the wonders up here in the sky. I'm a penguin flying high, living life with no questions why. I wonder how things carry on, never experiencing the beauty I thought. Whoa, whoa. A penguin that can fly.
Penguins, of course.